friends, family, and most importantly, the graduating class of 2003. Here in Virginia, we have a unique history. Over half a century ago, this state was divided by a force known as massive resistance. I stand here today able to address that generation that has been fortunate enough to know this term as history rather than reality. However, many others in this crowd today have a deep understanding of these implications. By having this ceremony, we offer our deepest apologies to those whose education was interrupted by the forces of segregation. This graduation is a major step towards putting the past behind us. However, much work remains ahead in the fight for equal rights. With that, I would like to call our two honorary graduates, Alan Simpson and Bertha Green.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Alan Simpson, and I am a member of what they call the Lost Generation. Although, I never really saw myself that way. I was only 8 years old when my mom told me that morning that I wouldn't be going to school that day, or for a long time. We didn't really know, actually. And some parents in the black community, my parents and some of their friends, tried to get us into other schools. As I recall, they put us in a school in the Mount Rock Baptist Church basement for a few months. It wasn't really the same. Then, after a few years, the elementary in my county opened back up, the Prince Edward County Elementary School. And, it was great, but I was 13 years old. They put me in 3rd grade. Humiliating. I sat in class, but me and this other girl, we were obviously older than all the little white kids. I didn't want to answer any questions because I knew that if I got it wrong, well, the kids would all laugh at me and snicker themselves. So I started to get headaches in the morning before school. I started to get stomach aches and throwing up. I was so nervous. My mom, she wanted me to get an education, but she knew that I wasn't learning anything anyways, so she pulled me out. And I had some odd jobs along the way. I ended up getting my GED and becoming kind of successful, but I really always felt like I was kept out of something because of the color of my skin. And I really never felt like I made up for it over the years. But here I am now, standing before you, and I've actually realized in the last few years what an insult this actually was to my father at the time, who had just fought in World War II a few years before the state and the government told us kids to keep out.
My name is Bertha Green. I was in 2nd grade when the Prince Edward County School Board announced that they would be closing my school. My parents were really concerned that I get an education, so the following year they sent me away to a Quaker school in Iowa. Of the more than 2,000 students who were denied an education during those 5 years, I was part of less than 5% who actually did manage to get an education. I'm now a 2nd grade teacher myself, so I know how important it is for children to get a good education, and I can't imagine how lost that would be if I hadn't. Even though I was denied the right to my 2nd grade education, I think that might be one of the reasons why I'm here now, teaching 2nd grade. In those years, I was so sad and scared, and I felt so alone, and I missed my family and my friends. Some nights, I'd cry myself to sleep, just wanting so badly to go home. The family I lived with was kind, and they had the best of intentions. But as a child of 8, all that I knew was that they weren't my real family. My parents came to visit one weekend every other month, and I looked forward to those visits for days. But after they left, I was left, all alone again, to feel those feelings, that sadness. Sometimes I had to just fight back tears, just to make it through the day. Sometimes I feel like that's what's led to these feelings of mistrust and occasional uncertainty that I feel as an adult. And I was one of the lucky ones who did get a chance to actually go to school. But still, I feel that I bear the scars. I was denied the right to go to my community school and to live at home with my family as just a young girl. I feel that as a black child, my life and my future were not important to my community, and those feelings linger on with me to this day. Thank you. On May 17, 1954, the Brown versus Board of Education decision was handed down from the Supreme Court declaring that separate educational facilities was inherently unequal.
57 years after the decision on Brown versus the Board of Education, when it was declared that separate is not equal, American students are still segregated in classrooms today. Think about your children. What do their classrooms look like? In the face of inequality, the real question is, what will our legacy be? Where will our children be in 50 years?